It's such a great to be so great to be a part of the NHMA annual meeting. I'm really just honored for the small role I'm going to get to play in introducing some folks who are going to comment about why manufacturing is so important to our future here in Connecticut. You know, my personal passion for manufacturing runs deep, in part because I'm just romantic about our long history in manufacturing, and also in part because today's manufacturing success is really all about embracing the future and embracing technology, which is really my other passion. You know, as the president and CEO of IT Direct, we help manufacturers take advantage of technology to help their businesses be successful. And as my other role as the host of the Made in America podcast, we really have two key goals. One, of raising awareness in Connecticut about the importance of manufacturing, not of our past, but of our current and the future of Connecticut economy. And the second, about sharing information in manufacturing so that we can all learn and grow with each other. Those goals dovetail just so well with the NHMA, and I'm just so proud and happy to be a part of this. So what I'd like to do now is introduce some folks who are members of NHMA for them to share their views on the importance of manufacturing in Connecticut's future. First, we have Mark Auletta, Vice President of Operations at Bauer, a fixture in Connecticut manufacturing for over 100 years, though him not personally, but the organization, right, Mark? An NHMA board member and chairman of our membership committee. And he's going to share his views of the importance of manufacturing to Connecticut's future. Mark?
Thanks, Ari. Technology, innovation, manufacturing, prominent in Connecticut for really hundreds of years. It's part of our DNA here in Connecticut. So looking back, I would say mid-1800s, you think about companies like Holt Firearms, Columbia Bicycle, Stanley, and of course, Pratt & Whitney Aircraft. Bauer, as Ari mentioned, founded in 1916 as an electrical contracting firm in Hartford. Quickly got into manufacturing, and then it was in the 1950s we took on a project for Pratt & Whitney. We've been in the aircraft industry ever since. And it really comes down to our people. Our people are our greatest asset. I think about all of the skilled tradespeople we have in our company, from welders to mechanics, electricians, machinists, just unbelievable talent. And thanks in large part to the funding that we've seen go into our trade schools, advanced manufacturing programs over the last few years. Then on the engineering side, likewise. So very talented young professionals coming out of colleges and universities right here in Connecticut and across New England. We are really proud to be part of the manufacturing community here. The one thing that has not changed at Bauer in 100 years is our values, coming right from Frank Bauer. It's integrity, knowing our business technically, and taking care of our customer. So we're proud to be part of the manufacturing community. And Ari, we are making the future every day.
That's awesome, Mark. I really super appreciate your comments and your perspective. Bauer is such a critical part of the Connecticut manufacturing supply chain and doing so much great stuff. That was awesome to see you, and thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to hear from Shane Sullivan. Shane is the production coordinator at Allnex in Wallingford, and is also coordinator for the young professionals, the young manufacturing professionals group, of the NHMA. And Shane's going to give us his perspective on why manufacturing is so important to our future. Shane, give us what's going on, in particular with young manufacturing professionals and just in general.
Young manufacturing professionals organization or a group that Jamie kind of came up with the idea in the fall. The main idea behind it is to create an environment for future manufacturing leaders to grow. I always found myself going to networking events and discussing the industry, and I found that there's a lot of opportunities for young people in manufacturing by doing this and working in the industry. But at these discussions is often about talking about how to deal with millennials in the workplace. And I got to be a part of these discussions a lot, but then I started saying a lot of these millennials are actually already leading a lot of these organizations. Some of them are already running production plants. So I thought that it'd be a good opportunity to change that perspective and start talking about um, started talking about like finding an unintimidating place for these young people to get together and grow and network. Jamie kind of had the same idea, and the main idea was to kind of form these this next generation of leaders in the industry.
What do you, Shane?
Yeah.
What got you interested in manufacturing? You know, I mean, you're one of the young manufacturing professionals. You know, I think we all realize that in order for manufacturing to be our future, we need to make sure that we're building the workforce of the future. What got you interested in manufacturing?
So I went to Platt Tech High School. I thought I was going to be a mechanic, and then right out of high school, I started working at Allnex as a production operator. And there's just so many opportunities for me to grow at Allnex. I started there in production, then I went on, worked for the safety and environmental department. I took on an engineering role about 2 years ago now, and then last year they put me in the production coordinator role, backing up some of the supervisors. And there I really got to learn how to efficiently and effectively run production lines and make some great products and just continuously look at how to make this better. They allowed me to lead the energy team last year. So last year alone, we saved, I have the note right here, 1,250 acres of forest. That's how much carbon we stopped consuming in 1 year, 120, equivalent to 120,000 gallons of gasoline. And we want to beat that goal, that accomplishment this year. We want to do better. And there's just opportunities like that are something that you don't really have anywhere else. Throughout the whole COVID-19 pandemic, we were able to safely stay open, and we changed some of our production operations to make hand sanitizers for first responders and other community organizations. There's so many opportunities for young people. They always, the three things that are most important to young people in any new job: they want career progression, they want collaboration, and they want a company that has corporate responsibility. Manufacturing has so much to offer and so much potential for these young people to really just run with that.
That's awesome, Shane. Couldn't agree with you more. And I think, you know, a lot of it goes back to sort of Mark's comments about really being true to our core values and the stuff that young people want today. Is that really any different than what people have always wanted? An opportunity to make a difference at a place that values their contribution. So listen, thank you so much for what you're doing and getting the word out to other young people about the great career opportunities and exciting stuff that's happening in Connecticut manufacturing. Really appreciate your time there.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Next, talk to Amanda Wiriya from Wepco Plastics. Wepco is extremely active in the business and manufacturing community, not only in their online messaging, always kind of posting and leading the way on communication, but also in workforce development, which I think dovetails nicely into what we were talking about. So Amanda, can you talk to us a little bit about product innovation as well as personal growth and development?
Sure, absolutely, Ari. Thank you for the introduction. And I echo what Shane and Mark already had stated. Manufacturing in the future is really synonymous with each other, and with product development that we do at Wepco, we're innovating the future, whether it's a complex medical device that can cure the next disease or a simple gadget that's going to make life at home better. That's innovation. And as we continue to innovate, we're going to need a larger pool of talent to grab from, and we are so blessed that in Connecticut that talent is already in our own backyard. And we're going to continue to manufacture innovative solutions at Wepco and through the NHMA and in the state of Connecticut. And as we do that, we're going to hopefully manufacture with talent that has never manufactured before. And that's how we create a manufacturing future.
And why is it so important for manufacturers to be engaging in personal development and personal growth of the team that works there, or the people that they want to have work there? Why is that so critical?
Because if we're going to innovate, you can't stay stagnant. And if you have a team that isn't learning and that isn't growing, you're not going to be able to create that innovation or even have that spirit of continuous improvement. And that is one of our core values at Wepco. So we believe in personal development and growth, because that's how you improve. Without that, we just really don't see how you would get to improvement.
I could not possibly agree with you more. You know, we all see about investing in our physical plant, investing in our machines, investing in our technology, but the people that make up the core of the company, we got to invest in them too if we want to have the type of people that are going to want to stay with us and, to your point, help innovate and grow. And one last thing, a little off topic, but I think super interesting. Wepco has been leading the way in so many ways in kind of social media engagement and social media marketing, not just innovating on the manufacturing floor, but innovating in the communication space. Why do you guys do that? And why do you think it's important going forward that more manufacturers embrace the new way of business marketing and business communication?
I think that the new way is definitely, if it hasn't already turned, it's turning now, and it's transparency. It's how we build trust with our customers. It's how we build trust with our community. When we interview at Wepco, oftentimes I know that I have the right candidate in front of me when they already know about our company. There's very little that I have to share because we have been completely transparent on social media if you look us up. And also with our customers, it's an easier sell. You know exactly what you're getting. You can go online and see a virtual tour of the shop that we actually put out today for some elementary school students that weren't able to actually come out, all the way to we have some new service videos that we uploaded. So to us, it's very important that we're getting the message out there about what manufacturing is and what opportunities there are in manufacturing.
Hey, man, I think that's awesome. And listen, you've talked a lot about today about innovation, innovating and how we deal with our people, innovating and how we produce, innovating and how we communicate. And I think, to your point, manufacturing is going to be our future. We have to lean into that future in everything that we do. Thank you so much for coming on, for sharing your views, and for leading the way for the rest of us.
Thanks, Ari.
Next, I'd like to welcome David Rothberg, the former CEO and current chairman of Laticrete in Bethany, Connecticut. David's going to be sharing his perspective on manufacturing's critical, multifaceted role, not just in Connecticut, but really in the U.S. economy overall. David, thanks so much for coming on today.
Great, Ari. Thank you very much. Thank all of you for inviting me. So Laticrete is a privately owned manufacturer. We're a little different than most Connecticut companies that we're chemists and chemical engineers. Connecticut's history, of course, is in metalworking, but we're manufacturers. So let me list some of the ways that manufacturing is important to our country's future, our state's future, and your personal future. Health and national security. This current pandemic showed us the risks of being exposed when we couldn't get our own masks and personal protective equipment into the country. Crises lead to shortages, and in any kind of crisis, the country producing this stuff, just as China did, they start sealing their borders. Now imagine, and we're on reasonably good terms with China, but imagine if you're in a shouting or, God forbid, a shooting a war with a country. From a national security point of view, we're cut off from semiconductor chips, aircraft parts, digital devices. So it's important to our national health and national security. It's super important. Manufacturing has a vital role in the future of improving the standard of living of Americans. You can export things, and it's much harder to export services. Everybody talks about the service economy, but it's much harder to export services than things. And the reason exporting is important is exporting brings their dollars from another country into our economy. We're not just shifting, selling back and forth to each other. This is the history of all the major rich countries of the world were built on export and trade. From the Dutch in the 1600s, the English Empire for 200 years, and the 20th century, the golden era, probably what will be looked back at the golden era of the United States, built on making things and exporting them. The other thing about manufacturing is that they offer good paying jobs with benefits. And they can do this because manufacturing has high value added. Somebody who's flipping hamburgers can only flip 10 hamburgers an hour, and the hamburgers sell for $3. So there's $30 an hour, and the employer has to pay for the food and the overhead. So how much can they pay per hour? If you work at a CNC machine, or you work producing batches of high value chemical products, the manufacturer is interested in highly trained, highly qualified labor, and can share some of that value added in good pay and good benefits. The other element is manufacturing jobs. You can have these good paying living wage jobs without a college education. It's not fair that only people who go to Yale or UConn and major in finance should be able to buy a home and buy a boat and send their kids to college. So manufacturing has historically been an avenue for middle-class, well-paying jobs to improve their standard of living and raise the standard so their kids live a better life. It's super, of course, there's so much concern about social justice and equity. This manufacturing offers jobs where anybody and everybody can have a living wage and a good standard of living. History it shows clearly that the countries that invent the next new thing are the biggest gainers, the biggest benefit. We all know, there are a lot of us in manufacturing on this conference right now, anything that's been made around for a long time becomes commoditized. Prices get squeezed. You got to invent something new and better. If you're going to invent a better mousetrap, it's a lot easier to do it if you have your engineers or scientists closely located, co-located with the manufacturing. They can make the new model, you can field trial it, get feedback, come back and improve it, very quickly have this virtuous cycle and get a better product out there. It's a lot harder to do that if your engineers are in East Hartford, Connecticut, and the manufacturing is in East Harbin, China. It just slows the whole cycle down. Just to show you an example, we've got a brief video clip. We have both manufacturing and our scientists in Connecticut of a breakthrough in the way buildings are being built and will be built in the future that came from this close connection between R&D and manufacturing.
Disruptive technologies such as 3D printing have the potential to change the way that products are designed and manufactured, fundamentally changing the structure of supply chains. Research suggests that on-site 3D printing of concrete could significantly improve eco-performance of the supply chain by making it shorter and more efficient. 3D printing could also shorten the design process, combining the roles of architects, engineers, and contractors. It means that consumers can use visual representations to evaluate the design in 3D, and any changes can be verified and directly implemented in the design, reducing the need for wasteful alterations.
We actually are printing buildings. We're printing buildings. And again, we invent the mortars, we're chemists, and that's an example of a wall done with 3D printing. So it's just the importance of the connection between development and the manufacturing. Finally, this is the right time. This is manufacturing's new golden era. The pandemic and the shortages of our masks and PPE, the tariff war with China have all shown the weakness of our having outsourced our manufacturing out of the United States. We're going to bring it back to Connecticut, bring it back to the United States. This is the time, reinvest, and I think politicians and regulators are going to be a lot more friendly to manufacturing. So we want to keep investing in manufacturing and make a better future for everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Really appreciate you coming on and sharing your views. And I love that you ended on the positive note. If we can bring back the manufacturing using that virtuous cycle, of connecting it together, maybe the golden age of the U.S. and U.S. manufacturing is in front of us and not behind us. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to hear from Chris Mosby, the General Manager of Sargent Manufacturing. Sargent is a part of Assa Abloy, a global leader in building access solutions with U.S. operations based here in Berlin. Chris is sharing his perspective on manufacturers' critical place on creating a positive future. Chris?
Thank you. So Sargent's manufactured proudly in Connecticut for more than 156 years. And to us, manufacturing means not only jobs, but careers for people in our community. And we bring capabilities to our country, the quick delivery of custom products and the protection of information, intellectual property. And for the world, our capabilities, we have across the globe credibility for precision manufacturing, complexity, and automation, as well as using technology effectively. So these are things that I think are why Connecticut should continue to play an important, manufacturing in Connecticut's important.
What is the technology that you, Chris, what are some of the technologies and technology innovations that you guys are implementing when it comes to kind of building access technologies? People that know the history of, Assa, Abloy, and Sargent related to the old key locks on our doors. How many of us have seen Sargent, on a key lock at one time or another? What are some of the innovations that you guys are seeing and kind of leveraging in Connecticut in building access control?
So access control, it's information technology and access control. So as our world continues to evolve, not only using keys or cards, is moving to using cell phones as credential management systems that will unlock your door. The technologies that enable and make that happen are developed right here in Connecticut, and the products that are manufactured and supplied around the world. And for us to stay cost competitive, we push automation each and every day. So we're proud we've got 75 robotic or automated pieces of equipment in our factory, and we continue to increase that each and every year so that we can compete on a worldwide level.
And what do you guys do to be engaged, sort of engaged in building that workforce for the future? I mean, but the technology is fantastic. What are you guys doing in the workforce area to kind of get that workforce of the future engaged in manufacturing?
Well, it's a pursuit of ours every day to engage each one of our employees, and makes it a more rewarding place for them as they can, from their heart, they make a contribution to our success. So we reach out and we want everybody to be involved in helping us make that happen. So we are always looking for systems and new ways that keep people engaged and collect more ideas so we continue to push forward.
And how does being involved in NHMA and doing events like this and just getting to be a part of the NHMA community, how do you see that as a value to helping build Sargent's future and the future of manufacturing in Connecticut?
It gives us a chance to learn. We never want to miss the chance to learn how to do something better, learn from somebody else who's found a new and better way. So we always want access to that information, to be able to share ideas, to learn from other people, so that we can bring those ideas, concepts, improvements, and thoughts back to our workplace.
That's it, man. Sharing and learning, growing and innovating. Chris, thank you so much for coming on. The first time I ever saw a self-powered delivery system was at the Assa Abloy plant there in Berlin. Little machine driving itself around a few years ago. Pretty cool stuff. Thanks again for coming on and sharing your views. Super appreciate it.
Welcome.
And now we're going to hear from J.R. Logan. J.R. is the Executive Director of MakeHaven, a not-for-profit membership-driven organization for makers, creators, tinkerers, and dreamers. And J.R. is going to share with us what the makerspace community is, how it connects to and supports a vibrant manufacturing in the state of Connecticut. J.R., thanks for sharing your views today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. And I know manufacturing makes our future because I am talking to independent makers every day, and they want to extend their reach and impact. Manufacturing's fundamentally a process by which people are taking something and making it accessible to more people. I get this perspective because I run a community makerspace. And it is New Haven's, the New Haven area's largest and most active. We're a membership-based workshop. We provide access to digital fabrication, to textiles, woodworking, metalworking equipment, and all sorts of other education related to making things that you might use in manufacturing. We emphasize discovery and exploration, experimentation with technology. We encourage people to play at the intersection of art and engineering, and we witness that this is fertile ground for the development of prototypes, which will be the next generation of products to be manufactured in Connecticut. Partnering with manufacturers allows us to take this further. It connects people to a broader community who understand how to make things and care about them being made locally. To motivate our members, it's important that they understand that their ideas and skills can translate into something meaningful in manufacturing. Therefore, the work you're doing to facilitate connections between manufacturers to better allow people to build skills, translate into work opportunities for manufacturing, and it helps our members find manufacturing partners who will better be able to take their prototype to the next stage. In particular, for me during COVID, it's been clear the power of a manufacturing relationship. Make Haven, through our community relationships and the relationships of our members, we're quickly able to do prototypes of things to address this COVID need. But it was through connections to manufacturers that these products can scale up and actually have a bigger impact on so many more people. It's really our dream to empower people to design, invent, and create. We look forward to doing this with Manufacturing CT to empower homegrown inventors from every background and to realize the real power that manufacturing can bring to our state.
JR, so thinking about, the maker community and its relationship to manufacturing, like where do they connect, right? If I'm a manufacturer and I really haven't been involved in the maker community and understand how it is, how would I engage? What's the relationship between the two?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are makers at every different level, and some of them can really benefit just from the exposure of what opportunities out there, perhaps a tour, virtual at this point, of what a facility looks like. And then we have others who actually have ideas and are trying to figure out how to actually introduce the manufacturing process. So there's many different ways to intersect.
And do you see the maker community, is that a growing space? And are the people that are involved kind of new to the whole manufacturing concept overall?
Yeah, the one thing I see very commonly is people design for one-offs. And we're trying to build our own knowledge so that people can design products or ideas at an earlier point that would be appropriate to bring to a manufacturer. And we're seeing growing knowledge in that area, but it takes exposure and learning to get these concepts across.
Exposure to the person for them to understand how to build their prototype out and what to do with it?
Yeah, and of the processes. So you can't design for injection molding if you don't know what injection molding is. So we start with basics.
Right. And so, like, are these people that don't really have much in the way of a manufacturing background? And is this a fertile ground for manufacturers to engage and maybe find some workforce building for the future?
Absolutely. We are not a rigorous jobs-oriented program that has a limited scope. We really believe in freedom to explore. But in that environment, there'll be people who naturally just have expertise and show a passion. And those are the types of things that I imagine many employers are looking to discover to find their best employees.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. If somebody has a passion for what we do, being able to take that passion and put it in the right direction makes the work a whole heck of a lot easier. JR, thank you so much for kind of educating us a bit on the maker movement and what's going on in Make Haven, and for being a part of the NHMA's annual meeting. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. And finally, Marcy Minich, the Chief of Operation at Excello Tool Engineering and Manufacturing. Excello is a third-generation CNC job shop, specializes in high-end, close-tolerance aerospace, defense, and medical component manufacturing, right in the Connecticut specialty wheelhouse, I would say, in all those areas. And Marcy, really interested to hear your perspective on why manufacturing makes the future for Connecticut.
So one of the opportunities that I've had as I've jumped into the role of participating in our operations is I've noticed that there's a tremendous amount of women that are entering the manufacturing workforce. I've been in just about every classroom throughout New Haven and Fairfield counties, and we're starting to see the percentage of kids graduating and coming out of these programs are women. And I truly believe that the opportunity that women now have is because manufacturing is starting to become a little bit more of a work-life balance career. It's digitalized. Many women are able to work different shifts and different hours to be able to continue to live a lifestyle that they need to live to raise families, or just work from home. Because it's been digitalized, they're able to do programming. They're able to do a lot of things that we're able to allow them to come into the industry. And women innately have the same sense of making something from scratch and creating something. And they are just as technologically as advanced, they are just as innovative, and they're finding opportunity to be able to enter this career. Connecticut is certainly cultivating that. They're giving great opportunities for the school systems to grow that, and we're finding that as a great opportunity to bring diversity to the manufacturing industry.
That's awesome. Well, given that women make up at least half of the population, being able to expand into that like talented workforce pool and seeing that grow is a tremendous opportunity, and it just expands the growing future for manufacturing in Connecticut. Thank you so much, Marcy, for coming on and sharing your unique perspective, and great to get that third generation family perspective. Thank you all so much for coming on. Glenn, I'll hand it back to you, my friend.